Packers have a new defensive coordinator and the Vikings have a new offensive coordinator. Okay, I'm going to introduce you to my new offensive coordinator, Klint Kubiak, Gary Kubiak's son. All right, so Klint Kubiak is 33 years old. Last year, he was the quarterbacks coach for the Minnesota Vikings, so he did get promoted. And one other thing I want to mention that, like, we didn't talk about it, but I think it's something worth knowing. Former Jacksonville Jaguars wide receiver, he was a great wide receiver, by the way, Keenan McCardell will be coaching the wide receivers for the Minnesota Vikings this season. So I'm really excited for him joining that team because Keenan McCardell, if you guys don't know who that is, you got to check out his stats because he was an amazing wide receiver for the Jaguars. Actually, he was part of that. I believe he was part of that team that upsetted John Elway and the Denver Broncos. There was a Jacksonville Jaguars team that beat John Elway and the Broncos in the playoffs, and I think he was part of that team. So if you guys don't know who he is, you should look him up. He was a great wide receiver. But let me start off with this, Nate. I'm a little bummed because I wanted somebody like Eric Bieniemy or Brian Schottenheimer, but Brian Schottenheimer ended up going to Jacksonville, and Eric Bieniemy is with the Kansas City Chiefs, and most likely he's going to be looking for a head coaching job if he does leave that team. But one thing I like about Klint Kubiak, to be honest with you, is he's young. 33 years old. I mean, he's got a lot of time he can stay the offensive coordinator for a very long time. Here's my problem, though, when you're hiring offensive and defensive coordinators and special teams coordinators and all of them like that. The problem I have with it is it's very rare to find a coordinator who stays long. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's very hard to find a Josh McDaniels who is good at his job and is staying and will stay with that team for very, very long. You know what I'm saying? It's very hard to find a Brian Schottenheimer who stayed with the Seattle Seahawks that long, because usually when you end up doing very good at your job, you end up getting interviewed for head coaching jobs. So you really don't. So obviously everybody wants to be a head coach. So most likely they end up leaving the team that they're with to become a head coach and go on their own path. Kevin Stefanski did it. Robert Saleh did it this year. I'm trying to think of more coaches who did it. There's a lot of them. I remember Josh McDaniels did it one year back in like 2011. But
wasn't
anyway,
Kyle Shanahan offensive coordinator?
Kyle Shanahan, LaFleur did it because he was an offensive coordinator for the Titans. So
Sean
yeah,
McVay did it too, I think.
Who?
Sean McVay, didn't he do it too? Wasn't he like a coordinator or something before he became a head coach?
He was a Titans coach.
McVay yeah.
But yeah, he did it too. So like you get what I'm saying though, right? A lot of coordinators, they end up, if they're good at their job, they end up becoming head coaches. With Klint Kubiak, him being young, I really do like that, because if we do like him, we can re-sign him for more years, and plus he's not reaching age. You know what I'm saying? With that being said, if Klint Kubiak does a good job, I expect him to kind of take the same offensive approach that his father took. Despite how the Vikings season turned out this year, the Vikings were a top 5 offense, and that's a stat right there. That's not a lie. That was a rank. They were fit. They were a top 5 offense, and second half, Kirk Cousins did an amazing job. Dalvin Cook was amazing throughout the whole year. And so with that being said, I want Klint Kubiak to kind of pick up the pace, but kind of also learn from the mistakes that his father made earlier on this season and kind of build upon them. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, I think defense right now for the Vikings is a bigger concern than offense, because the offense right now is the strong suit for the Vikings, in my opinion. But I believe Klint Kubiak can do a very good job with this team if he sticks to what his dad playbook was. You know what I'm saying? His dad's retired, and I respect Gary Kubiak so much. I respect he's done a great job for my team, and I'll never forget the 2 years that he was with us. But Klint Kubiak, now the heir to the Kubiak family, is taking over, and I wish him the best of luck. And I hope he can do great things for my Minnesota Vikings this year, which I am expecting.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll pick up on that. Congratulations to Klint Kubiak and the Minnesota Vikings. One thing you forgot to mention about him being young is that time's on his side. Right. And what I mean by that is that he has more time to get more experience than almost like when a rookie comes in the league, they need that experience, and then they become great. That's what I'm kind of getting at here. Like he has all the time in the world to be more experienced, to understand his offense, to understand his team as a whole, and get it clicking on 4 cylinders. Because I don't think like especially when you're young and you first get that one job, like you're unfamiliar with it. Say you started working at a hardware store 20 years old. You're not familiar with it, but then once you get to know it, you now know like, oh yeah, this is how this operates, this is where that goes. So it's the same thing what's going on here. He's 33 years old. That's in modern society, that's like nearing middle age, which yeah, but in sports as a coach, that's young. That's very young for a coach. Very, very young. So he has a lot of time on his side. He's got time to recognize his team, his coaches, the play style, all that kind of stuff. And that's the big benefit of being a young coach is that, like I said, you get that experience early, and then even if he does go for a head coaching job in the future,
Right.
there you go. You have that resume.
And even if he goes for like a head coaching job in the future, I can't really see him taking the McVay route, which is
Yeah,
because
right,
he's so early and doing a fantastic job at a young age. That could happen, but at least him being 33 years old, the Vikings have him for maybe at least 3 years. You know what I'm saying? At the
right,
least. So with the more time that he stays with us, the more time that he ends up building the offense, hopefully he does a good job as offensive coordinator and gets his name out there. And then once he gets his name out there, he'll probably have a big legacy like his father. Because let's be real, his father has a pretty big legacy.
right.
Like it's not the greatest legacy, but it is big. He has 2 Super Bowl rings, one as an offensive coordinator. I think he was an offensive coordinator for the Ravens, and one as a head coach for the Broncos. So he does. So his father's got 2 Super Bowl rings. His father knows what it takes to win a Super Bowl and be and try and form one of the best offenses in the league. He knows how to do it. He's done it. So if he can follow, that's why I'm saying follow that Kubiak playbook. Like a lot of coaches do that. The Schottenheimers, you know what I'm saying? The son follows father's playbook. Shanahan followed Father Shanahan's playbook. You know what I'm saying? That the playbook doesn't change, but if you can modify it a little bit where you can make it better, I'd love that for Klint Kubiak. Now, obviously, I wanted Eric Bieniemy or on the Kansas City Chiefs, the offensive coordinator for him, or Brian Schottenheimer, the offensive coordinator for the Seahawks. But if Klint Kubiak can prove that he can do a good job and do some great things that Gary Kubiak did, I'm all for it. So with that being said, congratulations to Klint Kubiak on his new offensive coordinating job and best of luck to him in Skull Vikings.